The death of David and Joab. Obviously, this is the last story of King David. For years, I wanted to learn all those stories and tell them, and so I'm thrilled the fact that I was able to do that and to pass them on to you. A couple of things about this story I think you'll find interesting. First of all is about Joab. David relied on Joab. Joab was such an important part of David's building his empire. He could rely on Joab to get the job done. He could send him out to war and know that it would be done the way he wanted it done. So why did he have him killed? This was his nephew. This was his friend. This was the one that they fought together. Why did he have him killed? Well, just a few things right here. David, first of all, knew that Joab was deathly loyal to only one man, and that was himself. No other. No one else could capture Joab's loyalty, and as long as he was alive, Solomon's kingdom would always be in jeopardy. David knew that the two of them would have to die together. Also, Joab was guilty and did have the condemnation of death in him. He murdered two innocent men. Two men that trusted him, and he didn't kill them in battle. He just outright murdered them. Abner, he pulled him aside and thrust a knife into him. Ammon killed him, his own cousin, and so he was guilty. But David didn't have Joab killed while he was alive, but he knew that he had to be condemned. He deserved it, and it helped establish Solomon as king. Now, there's one other issue that as you come out of David and going into Solomon, during David's time, there was two places of worship. One was Gibeon, where the tabernacle of God was, and the other was Jerusalem, where the ark of God was. So consequently, you had not only two places of worship, you had two high priests. Now, Solomon knew that he had to bring that down to one place because part of his commission was to build the temple, which would replace the tabernacle of God. But he had two priests. What would he do? Well, as it worked out, one priest was loyal and helped the grab for power that Adonijah made. Now, it's interesting, that priest, that was the one that Solomon just put aside. But that priest was the one that escaped the sword of Saul when Saul killed all of the priests of Ahimelech. Only one survived, and that was this priest right here. He ran to David and told him everything had happened. And eventually, David made him high priest in Gibeon. But at the end of his life, he sided with the wrong king. He sided with Adonijah, the one who was Solomon's half-brother, and he and Joab were both punished for that. So it left Solomon with the one king, the one that was loyal to him and one that helped put him in his job. One last thing, as Adonijah makes a plea here to get David's nurse, Bathsheba thought, and it would seem to us, that it was just a love. The fact that he loved this lady. Well, why not just let him have David's nurse? After all, they love each other, but that's not what it was. Bathsheba was deceived in that, but Solomon knew that this was Adonijah once again trying one more way to grab power, because the nurse was a part of David's harem. And if you could get a member of David's harem, that was a way to grab a hold of the kingdom. Solomon knew that, and Adonijah had to die as a traitor. Well, come back next week when we continue on with insights on the story of the week as we go into now to the stories of Solomon and the divided kingdom. We'll see you next week.